What's up, guys? It is Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022 AD. Anno Domini. We are live on all video platforms. Twitch should hopefully be connecting shortly, if it's not already. It's 9:01 a.m. here in Los Angeles, and this is the last Hake report for this week, I think, because heading out tomorrow. We got AFPAC. JLP will speak at AFPAC, and I'm going too. Very cool. No church on Sunday, by the way, guys. Normally we have church every Sunday, rebuildingtheman.com/church. Just a little heads up. At Bond, I say we because I'm producer for church. I help make sure it goes out online. But no live church, no in-person church this coming Sunday, February 27th. Guys, we're going to be talking about, did you know that it is Ahmaud Arbery Day, or blah, 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 blah day? And I just can't get over this white woman tears thing. I know I've been harping on it for like 2 days already. This is the third day now that I'm harping on it. Maybe longer than that. It was last week's news, but I have some clips to share with you from this Dante Wright Kim Potter case. Something about the mother and father and silly Benjamin Crump and sleazy libs who hate whites and hate or actual justice, pretend to be about justice, that just, catches my interest. So I will be sharing that with you. We'll have a fun, loosey-goosey Wednesday show, shall we? What do you think? And we're done with Holly Drift. We're done with Holly Drift, but I have more noise for you. So, anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. Ashley says, I liked Holly Drift. Well, thank you, Ashley. All one word, Holly Drift. All one word, not 2 words. But thank you, I appreciate that. Shout out to the Facebook crew, the faithful few, the sensible. Isn't that cool? And I am live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I'm even live on twitch.tv/The Hake Report. And Odyssey, ODYSEE.com/@The Hake Report. That's right, Dan East. More noise. Honestly, I like the noise better than the music. Right on. Yeah, it's Jogger Day. What a shame, huh? Let me just start right in with this. Did you know that it is Ahmaud Arbery Day? Yes, that jogger. Whom I consider to have been an out-of-control black. It's such a shame, really. It's not right. Don't get all riled about it or anything. It's not good to be riled. Cool it. But the more out of control the blacks get, the more perfect and self-constrained the whites are expected to be. And if you're not, and even if you are, you still get clamped down on, but you have to be wise. And it may be argued, and I think it's quite fair to say, especially in hindsight, that these 3 men who were convicted in the lynching, give me a break, it wasn't a lynching, of this jogger guy, 25-year-old, I think, were, let's call it, overzealous. Is that fair to say? I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if it's fair to say. I guess it might be fair to say. Do you know what I'm talking about? So according to 11 Alive on YouTube, today, February 23rd, I guess this is when he died, right? 2 years ago. Ahmaud Arbery Day. Blah, 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 blah day. I call him blah, blah, blah because a wise man said that we shouldn't be repeating these people's names like they're actual martyrs or heroes or real victims, you know? Psh. Ahmaud Arbery Day was declared in Georgia for February 23rd, marking 2 years since he was murdered. And I call that murder with an asterisk. A lot of people are calling things murder nowadays. They're even calling Trayvon Martin's death a murder. That was clear self-defense. In Brunswick, Georgia, Ahmaud Arbery's mother, Wanda Cooper-Jones, completely different name, is expected to make a special announcement at the event. Oh, gosh. So that's in Atlanta, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, Atlanta is like the black, okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's like the black gay capital of like the East Coast. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like one of the gay capitals of like the world, as in radical homosexual. Is that where Pulse nightclub shooting was? Atlanta? Let me see. Pulse nightclub shooting. No, yeah, you're right. That's in Orlando, Florida. What a mess. Orlando. Okay, but anyway, Atlanta, I think that it's pretty known for being radical homosexual, but that's where the great black filmmaker, comedy guy, well, filmmaker, who's that guy? He couldn't find his boy. He's on like Oprah Winfrey Network. Oh man, I'm blanking on his name. Anyway, he has a studio in Atlanta. He built his own studio instead of Hollywood. He's filming in Atlanta. Man, I'm blanking. Yeah, Perry. Thank you, Tyler Perry. Yes, Tyler Perry. Atlanta. National Center for Civil and Human Rights. That's what made me think of the gay thing. National Center for Civil and Human Rights. Anytime you see civil rights or human rights, especially nowadays, especially human rights, you know it's like globo homo, like communist, not for what's right. They want to enforce the radical gay agenda and use false black victimhood as a bludgeon against whites and sensible, fair-minded people. But Ahmaud Arbery was that jogger. He was looking in houses, looking awfully suspicious. He'd had prior run-ins with the cops, alleged attempt robbery of like a Walmart TV. He ran up on a cop who was peeking inside of his vehicle when he was out in the middle of nowhere rapping with like a big fancy jacket on and no shirt. He's just a weird guy. Yes, Tyler Perry, thank you. So it's a shame because the Failing New York Slimes has this headline: Ahmaud Arbery killing. 3 men found guilty of hate crimes. And I had a caller on this yesterday. Shout out to Joe in Portland, Oregon. The Failing New York Slimes shows the 3 pictures of these men whom you should pray for, persecuted white men, in my opinion. Maybe they were not really checking themselves, because I don't know that what they did was illegal per se, but certainly ill-advised, especially if they know. They seemed to be aware of the race issue in America. Convicted of so-called hate crimes. The evidence of the defendant's racism was laid out in court, proved to be both voluminous and harsh. This is the New York Slimes writing. Who wrote this article, by the way? New York Slimes. 2 people. Tariro, a black female named Tariro Mzezewa, and Richard Fawcett. They don't seem to be white or normal white. Richard Fawcett maybe something. But Tariro Mzezewa is the co-author of this article. And she's a black female with like braids, and probably not a sensible one. I mean, if you're writing for the New York Slimes, you can't be. Voluminous and harsh racism evidence. Numerous uses of racist epithets aren't racist, and racial insults, along with video of Mr. Arbery gasping for his final breaths on the pavement, which is a rough sight to see. It's rough to see a human being dying, right? For most, especially in this time of people with they're not really soft hearts. People are very hard-hearted, but tender, unable to stomach a lot, right? We have this spoiled, soft world that we're living in right now, where you show something that looks kind of harsh and people overreact to it and call it police brutality. These people weren't police anymore, but they were men looking out for their town, in my opinion. And I think my opinion is valid. Men looking out for their town, these white men. Testimony that the defendants did not render aid to him. Like they're supposed to render aid to this guy who was attacking him just a moment ago, the son. Because if you're familiar with the story, you know that these guys chased Ahmaud when he wouldn't stop for them when they were trying to conduct this. Maybe it was an illegal citizen's arrest. Some people say it was. Some people say it was legally vague, meaning they thought that it was legit. But he attacked Travis McMichael. Travis McMichael had confronted him with a shotgun. Some say he pointed it at him. Others say he didn't point it at him until Ahmaud tried to attack him. He certainly was holding it, brandishing it. I guess you could call it brandishing. But Ahmaud jumped at him. Very ill-advised. Very out of control. Acting erratic. Not wise. Not a good situation. So in my opinion, he had to shoot him in self-defense. But they wouldn't accept that. The government's case seemed to take an emotional toll on jurors, some of whom could be seen crying. Well, then they should be disqualified if they're going to be emotional. We need men. I wonder how many female jurors or female-minded male jurors were there. Last week, one of the jurors asked the court officials if counseling was available. Man. Pretty rough, huh? They're trying to traumatize these people to try to guilt them into doing this stuff. And this is the push by the Department of so-called Justice. They're trying to make a federal case out of a local story. This is really a local story. None of us should have even heard about this case, in my opinion. And I will get to your calls, guys. Even the defense lawyers acknowledged to the jury. Listen to this. This is such a shame. Were these hired? Were these defense lawyers hired? The jury was made up of 8 white members, 3 black members, and an Hispanic member. The defense lawyers acknowledged to the jury that their client's views were reprehensible. Shut up. I don't know of what I would do, but I would want that lawyer fired for making such a statement. J. Pete Theodosian, a lawyer for William Roddy Bryan, referred to racism as among the lowest of human emotions. It's not an emotion. It doesn't even exist. So-called defense lawyer. Text messages recovered from Roddy Bryan's cell phone showed that he opposed his daughter's relationship with a black male. Pardon me, most people oppose interracial relationships. That's called tradition. Traditional people of any race, we all know this, it's ridiculous, I shouldn't even have to repeat it. Traditional people of any race want their children to be with the same race. But no, it's racist if a white opposes it. Stupid. Using a racist slur to describe the boyfriend in a text exchange 4 days before Mr. Arbery's killing. Ooh, meaning he described him in rough language for what he is, right? Using rough language, right? Supposedly. A witness said Gregory McMichael, the retired police detective who was part of this posse, made disparaging comments about a black tenant who rented from him and about this so-called civil rights leader, Julian Bond. Julian Bond, is there anything good to say about that guy? You guys familiar with Julian Bond? Horace Julian Bond, 1940 to 2015, he's dead. American social activist, leader of the so-called civil rights movement, politician. He's a politician. There's plenty disparaging to say about any politician. Georgia state representative. And frequently, very frequently, people will have something disparaging to say about a tenant. And we all know that black tenants, employees, and random people you run into on the street, yeah, some of them are all right. But many times they are problem people. They have a problematic attitude. And especially tenants. It's so bad that there's a trend of discrimination against black tenants in this country. And it's not just because they're black. It's because they're got that black attitude. Travis McMichael, the man who used his Remington shotgun to fatally shoot Mr. Arbery 3 times at close range in a scuffle over the shotgun. Arbery was punching him and grabbing at the shotgun. He was revealed to have repeatedly used racist slurs. Slurs are not racist. And expressed the desire to see violence and death visited upon black people. I'm sure there's more context to that. So that's the story. And, you know, Republicans, cowards in the state of Georgia, they joined the Democrats in this state to weaken the ability of citizenry to look out for their community, meaning they're not allowed to do citizens' arrests. And they also created like a hate crime law out of it, if I remember correctly. Hate crime. Let's see, at the bottom of this story, they passed a state hate crime law over this incident. Just falling in for the exploitation of the outrage. Suckers. What use are the Republicans? Very shameful. Somebody in the chat, I think Trump Support 2020 or something like that, said, "Hey, I thought Hake was a Republican. Why is he against the civil rights laws of the 60s? Because I don't believe in that mess." And the Republicans of the 60s, man, I don't know if the Republicans were ever any good. Some are. Some. Julian Bond, give me a break. So anyway, they didn't say anything specifically, or they didn't show any evidence that about them with Arbery. But I heard that they had prior run-ins with him. I thought that I heard they had prior run-ins with him. I don't really have any details on that. But you guys may know about it. Doesn't really matter, but they're already sentenced, these 3 men. Again, pray for them, wish them well. And same thing with the evil people. Same thing with the evil people who are forming the lynch mob against the whites right now. But they already got sentenced to life, for all 3 of them convicted of quote-unquote murder. And now they're convicted of federal hate crimes. And that includes possible large fines and stuff like that, steep fines, even though they're already sentenced to life in prison. So wrong. So wrong. Explain why you don't believe it. You're talking about the so-called civil rights mess? Correct me if I'm wrong, but part of the so-called civil rights things, I don't know when these federal hate crimes things came into existence, but we should get rid of all hate crimes legislation. Get rid of it, because that's evil. It's divide and conquer mess. It's communist violation of the basic right of freedom of speech. These men had the right to text about not wanting their black daughter's boyfriend to be dating her, or have ill will People have ill will towards others all the time, especially poorly behaved people. You know what I mean? Discrimination laws, anti-discrimination laws are very ill-advised. Anti-discrimination laws just breed, for one thing, they breed these frivolous lawsuits. Oh, he's discriminating against me because I'm black. Or, oh, they're discriminating against me because I'm gay. Says the Masterpiece Cake Shop people. Well, or transgender. Transgender. It's ridiculous. It just breeds suspicion, anger, division, and hatred, and it's not rooted in actual justice. What else was involved in the so-called civil rights legislation? The Voting Rights Act. I don't think that the Voting Rights Act was... I think most of that was ill-advised. We have every idiot voting now. We have a worse voting electorate today than I think that we did in the 60s. We had forced integration as a result of this so-called civil rights mess. Forced integration. Whereas before, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that we had forced segregation. And some of it, I mean, you're going to have force one way or another, right? But you had the basic right of free association. Some communities didn't want blacks in their neighborhoods. And in my opinion, I don't think I think they should have the right. So, anyway, that's why, no, I'm not for what those Republicans were doing. I think they went overboard. You'll notice that you too, when you think that you're wrong about something, you'll maybe overcompensate and you'll make things worse trying to make it better. That's been like the country. We've gotten worse, so quote unquote trying to get better. We haven't gotten better. Oh, we've made great strides in race relations. No, we haven't. That's a lie. I think we're worse off today than, I don't know. It's hard to compare to the past, but we're not doing right. Compare it to what's right. We're not doing right. But when I'm saying we, I'm talking about the country. Stephen Absolution. Hake, I'm Italian. Don't hate, discriminate. God bless y'all. Happy Manhood Hour Wednesday. Indeed. I'm going to talk about the Italians because, I don't know, this Dante Wright mama woman doesn't look like a normal white to me, but she was wanting her white woman tears to work, but Kim Potter's worked better because she's blonde or something. Anyway, let me get to a call, guys. It's 9:25 almost. Let me get to Mark in Santa Monica, California. Mark, how are you doing?
Very good, Mr. Hake. If I could I change what I told the screener I was going to talk about? Because I want to talk about what you're... Okay. First of all, in the South in the 60s, Barry Goldwater, the 64 candidate for president, opposed the Civil Rights Bill. And Ronald Reagan, who was new to politics in 64, called the Civil Rights Bill the biggest, I forget his exact quote, but he said it was the worst piece of legislation to ever come out.
Wow. So
not all the Republicans were like Romney's old man in Michigan, the scum he was. He was as bad as his son. He supported that communist civil rights movement. And
Reagan in the 60s, Ronald Reagan in the 60s, though, wasn't he a Democrat, but he was one of the sensible Democrats, or what?
Well, actually, he was a Republican starting in the 60s. He was a Democrat in the 50s when he headed the Screen Actors Union, but you almost had to be to get that job. But he was only in there to get the commies out. But the point is, the civil rights movement, the civil rights bill of 64 was a failure, because what happened was it said you couldn't discriminate in jobs, housing, and so on against blacks. But what happened between 64 when it passed and roughly around 1970, blacks weren't able to pass the tests for the jobs that weren't even open to them before 64. So, for example, police departments stayed white even after the phony civil rights bill passed because the blacks couldn't make the grade to get on the police departments. So they had to basically violate the civil rights bill with affirmative action, because affirmative action openly discriminates against whites, which violates the spirit of the civil rights bill. But so they had it both ways.
Yeah, exactly.
So when this fool calls you or messages you about why being a Republican, how can you oppose the civil rights bill? Well, it's common sense.
Right.
Conservatism doesn't want total government control, and that's what the civil rights bill did. The Voting Rights Act is openly unconstitutional. But I believe it or not, every 10 years from 65 until I think 2015, every 10 years, every president renewed it, including Reagan. And he opposed it in the 60s, but he signed on in 85 when he was president. And the Supreme Court finally ruled that it was unconstitutional. But look at all the damage that was done with that commie bill.
Wow.
So
I have a super chat from Asmador saying, like you just said, Reagan took both sides of the Civil Rights Act. A book Asmador has, this is a super chat on Odyssey, a book he has called Reagan's Reign of Error, quoted Reagan, both supporting and condemning it, back and forth, over and over. Wow.
Well,
and he's the one who signed.
He's
the one who signed. In other words, he did not veto, or maybe he, I don't know. I don't know the history. But he signed the MLK Day, right?
Yeah, I know. That really let me down. He had that devil Jesse Jackson come to the White House and pressure him to do that. But let me just say this about that, though. What Reagan said after he signed King's Holiday into law, he said, we really won't know the truth about this guy until those classified documents are made public. And the NAACP, the white haters in America, they all attacked Reagan, even though he had given them what they wanted. Because he added that statement to it, they denounced him. Although he didn't really want to sign it, he was under tremendous pressure. And by making that comment, that pretty much cleared up what he really thought it came. And
True.
It's the truth.
I remember seeing that. I saw that on YouTube some years back of him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yes, but I was just going to say Reagan did the best he could. The biggest problem with Reagan was he gave amnesty to the illegals. That's what destroyed his presidency in 1986. He wasn't up for another reelection. He knew he could do this and get away with that without having to face the voters. But that's what led us to where we're at today with the illegal alien invasion. It started, I hate to say, as much as I hate to say this, Kennedy started it with the 65 Immigration Act, but Reagan continued it with his amnesty 20 years later. And so Reagan really wasn't as conservative as President Trump, but I kind of liked him. I mean, Reagan was better than the people that were running against him. And this whole immigration fraud that we're seeing now was actually developed in the 60s. I saw a clip of Adam Clayton Powell. I don't know if you knew who that was. He was a radical black congressman from Harlem. He hated white people. And he said this in an interview in '68, that if we can get the Mexicans to vote with the blacks, we could take over the country. Now, he didn't know about all the other third worlders that have invaded our shores, but he would be a happy man today. So this whole idea of flooding the border, making us a minority in our own country, this was something that was started by the black radicals back in the 60s, and Obama kept it going. The only thing that kept Obama in check were some conservative Republicans. Can I ask you one thing off subject here?
Okay.
Whatever happened to Go-To Bible Guy? I used to like his calls. I never hear him on. Yeah. Is he around?
No, he's gone off the deep end, man. We, don't even ask.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I just know I haven't heard from him, and he usually made sense, but maybe I missed something. Sorry.
No worries, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. I trust your judgment. God bless you.
All right. You as well. Take care. Before I get back to calls, got some super chats, guys. Asmodor states with another super chat on Odyssey, odyssee.com/@the Hake Report. Reagan said that in response to the White House press pools asking him, shouldn't he open MLK records if they're going to give him a holiday, it wasn't the based comment that the callers seemed to think it was. It was a dodge and cowardly. Interesting. So he didn't say, oh, we need to open this up in order to make a holiday out of him so we know everything about him. It was saying, oh, we'll find out the real story about him in a few years. Interesting. Got some, got another super chat from your girlfriend over there in streamlabs.com/the Hake Report. Hake sounds like he's hawking up a loogie when he says Arbery's name. Sorry, kids. Well, that's how the Muslims call it. They say Ahmaud. I know, I guess the blacks really pronounce it Ahmaud, right? Ahmaud Arbery. But it's Ahmaud, and so I pronounce it Ahmaud. Because the blacks hate whites so much that they want to reject the so-called white man's religion. They call it the white man's religion, which made them great. Did you know that black Americans were once great? Many were. But now they've rejected Christianity. They've gone, it's kind of a prison religion, the Muslims, and the black Muslims, the Nation of Islam. They turn themselves around. Because Ahmaud, isn't that, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's like an Arab Muslim name. Ahmaud. I doubt that I'll even I just get a bunch of Ahmaud Arbery results. What a mess. Ahmaud name. But thank you, your girlfriend. I don't want to get too sidetracked with this. Ahmad, Arabic name, Arabic male name, but usually it means highly praised. For what? For jogging? What a mess. Not good. Before I get back to calls, John in Kentucky, I'm coming to you next. I wanted to talk about this story about the gay agenda, the radical homosexual agenda, because it's so, ridiculous. Speaking of the so-called civil rights bill, because, everybody's, JLP frequently states it, everybody evil uses the blacks to push their agenda. Morning Brew reported, and I mentioned this in Hake News at the end of hour 2 of the Jesse Lee Peterson show, the so-called Supreme Court will hear a same-sex marriage case. There's no such thing. Next term, they'll hear an appeal from a prospective Colorado web designer who, due to her religious beliefs, believes that marriage is between a man and a woman, and that's how it's always has been. But now they want to say, oh, the so-called Supreme Court back in 2013 or something, give or take a year or so, said, no, a marriage can be anything. The Supreme Court is supposed to judge constitutional matters. Marriage isn't defined in the Constitution. Therefore, they didn't have a right to redefine it. Ridiculous. This woman only wants to provide services to normal couples. They call normal couples heterosexual, trying to make them sound all sexual and freakish, which many so-called normal people are freakish, and that's why many so-called normal people accept the gay agenda, because they themselves are corrupt and perverted, just not in the homosexual way, but it's still perverted. The sex out of wedlock, can't control themselves, so they feel sorry and they feel better. Oh, at least I'm not gay, but at least I can accept the gays. I'm better. At least I'm not a religious hypocrite like those Christians, they claim, right? So wrong. So they'll accept all manner of evil. Such woman thinking. So she only wants to provide web design services to normal couples. I guess she makes wedding websites or something. I don't know. puts her at odds with an oppressive state law in the state of Colorado. Colorado, correct me if I'm wrong, their governor is a radical so-called homosexual, meaning that he thinks that he's married to a male. Shocking, huh? That's happened in America, a Christian nation. This state law prohibits the basic right of discrimination, free association, right? On the basis of sexual disorientation. So evil. So evil. The so-called Supreme Court, the Morning Brew says that they punted. I think the Supreme Court might be confused on this. On a similar case in 2018 that involved the Colorado baker. Remember that? Masterpiece Cake Shop by Jack Phillips, that man, Christian man, over in Colorado. He's appeared on the Jesse Lee Peterson show alongside a lawyer, I think, with Alliance Defending Freedom. Alliance Defending Freedom, they defend Christians in court cases, right? Because Jack Phillips of Masterpiece Cake Shop was like, no, I'm not going to do so-called same-sex wedding cake. And because these two gays from like Massachusetts, I guess they were vacationing or visiting family in Colorado, and I don't know if it was on purpose or by accident, but they went into Masterpiece Cake Shop and said, oh, we want to make a gay wedding cake. And Jack Phillips is like, no, I'm a Christian, I don't do that. But you can buy anything that's already ready-made here. You're welcome to buy that. And he's served so-called gays, just not want to doesn't want to support a so-called gay wedding. And then one of these guys, like his mother called Masterpiece Cake Shop and talked to Jack Phillips, who said, I'm a Christian, he just repeated his line. I'm a Christian, I don't support the so-called same-sex weddings. And by the way, it was not recognized in Colorado. It was against the law at that time. Can you believe it? And then the Colorado has this civil rights commission or something like that. Colorado Civil Rights Commission. The Supreme Court said that they acted with religious hostility. That was a word. Religious hostility on the part of the state. Did not fulfill the state's obligation of religious neutrality. Okay, so he won that case, I guess, after many appeals and all kinds of wasted money, in my opinion. And all that. Later, in 2021, did you hear about this? This was reported by CPR, Colorado Public Radio, far-left outlet, no doubt. A Denver court, quote-unquote, found Masterpiece Cake Shop baker violated anti-discrimination laws in refusing to make not a same-sex wedding. Now, this time, they're going after him again with a gender transition cake. Some male who feels like a female wanted his birthday. He felt like a woman, so he wanted a birthday cake, pink on the inside, and then blue frosting on the outside. Called his office, and the woman, I think it was the day that it was in court for the same-sex marriage wedding cake. And he's all, the person who took the phone call said, I don't think we can serve you on this. And so they're going after, the gay thing didn't work against this guy. Now they went after him for the transgender thing. Ridiculous, huh? That's where so-called civil rights and anti-discrimination will get you. Just evil, evil, evil. So wrong. Let me get to John in Kentucky. John, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
You're doing good.
So
huh?
I got a question that I've been asked. I've been wanting to ask for weeks, but you ain't been letting me on. So I'm glad you let me on this time, Nick.
I ain't been letting you on.
Yeah, you ain't been letting me on. I've been calling for weeks now.
That's not true. The only way I wouldn't let you on is if, like, you call in all late or something.
Well, that could be it.
Yeah.
But my question is about white people. I always hear you say normal whites. Now, how do you distinguish between Germans and Polish people and Italians, like you say, and so-called Jews? Like, aren't they all white?
They're all light-skinned, and they all can be confused as one another sometimes, I guess.
Light-skinned.
Light-skinned, yeah. But
that's a black term.
Well, yeah, it's a black term, but I don't mean light-skinned black. I mean, like, light-skinned is in very fair skin, right?
No.
Yes.
Like, racially, are they your people?
No, I don't think in terms of that. But I don't really know the difference between the Polish and the Germans because I don't really understand all that stuff. Swedish and all that.
All them people.
Right.
Are they not considered white?
Many of them are considered white. Jews are not generally considered white, though. Sometimes they call themselves white when they want to attack white people. Oh, us fellow whites, my fellow whites need to learn anti-racism, embrace anti-racism. And then there are some like female-minded whites who fall into that mess.
But Hake, because that's not an ethnicity. That's something that y'all set up as like a social construct, though.
It's not a social construct. You mean like the American culture, which is Anglo?
Which is racist, yeah.
It's not racist.
Y'all want to put you.
It's not racist. There's no such thing as racism.
Hey man, can I get my thoughts out? I've been waiting weeks to get these thoughts out. The last guy, that racist guy that always calls and talks about black people.
Are you talking about yourself?
No, the racist white person.
Are you a racist black person?
I love my race.
So you're racist?
I absolutely do.
So you're racist?
But listen, hey.
Are you racist?
I love my race.
Are you racist? It's a yes or no question.
I love my race. I love my race.
Are you
That's
racist?
all I can tell you.
Are you racist, John?
Well, in your philosophy, it don't exist. So why do you want to know the answer to that question?
Because you have your own philosophy where you think racism exists. In your philosophy...
You're hilarious, man.
Thank you. In your philosophy, are you racist?
But listen, I got a point to make.
I'll let you make your point if you answer my question directly. Yes, no,
maybe.
Or I don't know.
Maybe.
Are you racist?
Maybe. I just answered your question. I said maybe.
In other words, you don't know yourself.
I might be.
You don't know yourself?
I don't know myself?
Yeah.
Yes, I know myself.
Then how come
I love my race.
How come you don't know whether you're racist or not?
Okay, does being racist mean you hate other races?
You're the one who believes in it.
Well, I don't hate other races, so I guess I'm not racist, but dang.
You don't hate other races?
No.
Do you hate white people?
I hate a lot of them. The racist ones.
Then you hate other races.
I hate the racist ones.
No.
They make the world like have too much friction.
But you're the same. But you're the same as them.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I don't have no power. I don't have no power.
Give me a break. None of the racist people that you call out has any power. Mark from Santa Monica Mark from Santa Monica, what power does he have?
Is that his name, the last caller?
Yes. What power does he have?
I try to keep up with your character.
Are you assuming that he has power?
Well, I don't know him personally, so I can't.
Then why are you calling him racist?
It's collectively the word you don't like to use. Collectively, white people.
That's a communist buzzword.
They have power. Whatever.
He's not collective with anybody. In fact, he's on the margins of society.
You're trying to throw me off.
No, because you called him racist, but you won't call yourself racist.
He is racist.
No, he's not.
He said that. He said before y'all brought us here, blacks was living in the jungles of Africa. That's not true.
Do racists have to have power to be racist?
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I don't care.
I told you how he was racist. I don't care either, really.
Because you made the claim that you can't be racist because you don't have power.
Yeah, I don't have power.
So you can't be racist?
I can't keep you from getting a home loan.
So you can't be racist?
I can't be. Man, what did I just say, man? You asked me was I racist. I said I don't hate other races, so I'm not racist.
You do. Yes,
so that's your answer. You want to keep on going.
I know, because you made the claim that you don't have power.
I don't have power.
Does Mark from Santa Monica have power?
He might. He sounds like a Klansman. He sounds like
so
he could
you
be
don't
like
even know if you don't even know what you're talking about.
I told you I don't know him personally, but you keep on just going and going.
You called him racist
you
like you know him personally.
With that. Well, he sounds like a racist. I told you what he said.
You sound just like him.
No, I do not.
Yes, you do. Except,
all right, so how long you want to keep talking about Mark from Santa Monica?
I'm talking about you, because you don't even know yourself. You're all, I might be racist.
Hey, man, I ain't gonna lie to you, boy. You so childish, man. You 40, but you childish, man.
Well, back at you. Back at you.
Look, I'm not as childish as you, though.
Okay.
But look, man, I was asking that question about white people because, in my opinion, I know y'all are not the same.
Right.
The same way that blacks and Africans are not the same. Y'all try to put us in that same box. And then the same way the Japanese,
we don't try to put you in the same box. When did I ever try to put you in the same box with Africans?
Man. See, you didn't do Mark from Santa Monica like that because he got the right color skin. But look, when I get to talking,
you don't know me.
You
don't know why I treat Mark the way I do.
I do know because you treat all your white people that agree with you and have that.
I don't even agree with Mark much of the time.
You agree with him about most of that white supremacist type talk.
There's no such thing as white supremacist type talk.
Koreans, Japanese, Chinese, they aren't the same either. They're all different people.
No, duh.
So y'all need to quit. So y'all need to quit acting like we're Africans because we're not.
I never have called you African.
Y'all said Africans sold Africans into slavery. That's what y'all said.
No, that's Africans what JLP has said. I have never said that.
Well, that's your leader, though.
That's not my leader.
That's your leader.
No, it's not.
He is your leader.
No, he's not.
That's where you learned all your stuff, man.
No, it's not.
Because you repeat all his stuff like a little parrot.
I repeat his stuff that makes sense.
He is at the top, and then everybody else is below him.
He's the boss, but he's not my leader.
Okay,
I repeat stuff that makes sense.
It's the same.
You sound the same as all the dumb black Hebrew Israelites who have no sense.
Hey, man, don't be calling my people dumb, boy.
You don't call me boy, dummy.
Well, you are a boy. You act like one.
You act like a child.
Jesse is y'all's leader. He's y'all's leader.
No, you don't know me.
You go to church with him,
of
and
course.
he always says, I'll add my 2 cents later. But really what he does is he tells you the correct way. Like, he's not wrong, but anybody else who says something different.
Is he wrong?
He's always wrong.
What's he wrong about?
Well, I'll have to go back and watch one of his Sunday fake church
So you don't even know. You can't even explain how he's wrong.
Well, you got to think about his Bible questions. He's always wrong about those. And a lot of times they don't make sense.
That's because you're shallow.
And then plus, y'all don't even like.
You need to become more like a child, John.
Serious like that.
You need to become more like a child, John.
Hey, man, y'all don't even take the Bible serious. Why do y'all have a Bible question every week? I just don't understand that.
You don't take the Bible seriously.
I do.
Yes, you do.
You know what, man?
No, you don't.
I'm
you
ready
don't
for
because
revelations.
you hate racists.
I'm ready for revelations. Are you?
You hate racists.
Hey, that was another question, Hake. Do y'all believe in Jesus? I mean,
you hate racists, right, John?
Jesus.
You hate racists, right?
Yes, I hate Klansmen. I hate the skinheads.
Then you don't take the Bible seriously.
I hate the police.
Then you don't take the Bible seriously. I'm putting you on hold, John, because you're hurt. John.
You asked me a question, man.
You don't take the Bible seriously.
I do take the Bible serious.
No, you do not, because the Bible says don't hate your enemy.
Yeah, but me and you had the discussion about that. He's not referring to y'all Edomites. He's referring to other Israelites.
You have no idea what you're talking about. You're just making up excuses for you to hate.
You haven't Hake. Is that what you said, Hake?
No, I said hate. You're making up excuses for you to hate because you think that you're God's chosen people.
Before you hang up on me and run,
I got some super chats for you.
How serious do you take Jesus?
What kind of question is that?
Because the Christianity that I grew up under, like, you have to have a relationship with Jesus in order to get to quote unquote heaven. Do y'all believe in heaven and having a relationship with Jesus, because I never hear y'all preach Jesus in church. It's just always the same thing on the radio show about black people this and black people that.
Nobody said, no. Where does the Bible even say have a relationship with Jesus? Somebody, either he hung up, or I didn't hang up on him. I was taking screenshots. I got some super chats for you guys. He disconnected. Got lots of super chats on Odyssey, odyssee.com/@the-Hake report. Boring conversation anyway. I do tend to get carried away. Okay, so let me get some super chats in here, guys. Okay. Jogger's gonna jog, says Asmodor, referring to that black out of control guy. Not good. I'm talking about Ahmaud Arbery. He states, Jews aren't white. As for the rest, it's a white thing. John wouldn't understand. Yeah, I agree. Asmodor states, race is species. Ethnicity is subspecies. Likely John's IQ will prevent him from processing this simple information. How do John be classifying Somalians and Bantus and Zulus and Nigerians and Ethiopian Jews? I mean, is all black, ain't they? Your girlfriend gave a super chat, but I think she might have retracted it, so I'm not sure if I should read it. But thank you. I appreciate it, your girlfriend. And I have read it. Let's see. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Okay, so your girlfriend gave a super chat. I think she misstated. Can I read this one, your girlfriend? Is it okay if I read this? John, my suggestion, states your girlfriend, my suggestion is to you would be to back up from your phone mic a little bit. There's a bit of distortion. Meaning when you're too close, it goes. Yeah. Also, try having a personality aside from being brash so we can at least tolerate your calls. Well, thank you, your girlfriend. Giving double super chats. I appreciate it. Triple super chats sometimes. Thank you. Your Ledge Klinger gave a super chat regarding John from Kentucky. If he had a prepubescent voice, you would think he was 10 years old, the age at which his mother finished traumatizing him. He is obviously not matured beyond an instilled, angry black kid. Shameful. Thank you, your girlfriend. And thank you, Ledge Klinger. He disconnected. I didn't hang up on him. Maybe somebody else hung up on him, or maybe it was the feds. Or maybe he himself pressed something. But thank you, John. I appreciate it. It's funny. I wonder if Art from Ohio, a guy who considers himself to be from the tribe of Judah, agrees that loving your enemy means only loving your fellow so-called Israelites. Or does it mean your enemy? I don't know. Let me get to Steve in New York City. Steve, thanks for calling.
Hey.
What's up?
Hey, Hake, how you doing? Listen, that last caller, I got to tell him, I mean, I really need to, let this guy know that he has hatred for the certain police. He has hatred for racists. He has hatred for Klan members, and he has hatred for certain white people. Now, to have hatred in your heart is not loving thy neighbor. I mean, there's nothing positive in the Bible that says hatred is good, for these group of people and these group of people. You have to love thy neighbor, and you have to get rid of all the hatred from your heart. But I'm 60 years old, and it's hard for me to get rid of hatred, but I'm learning, and I'm getting rid. this guy, and he has a lot of hatred in his heart. Maybe it was taught to him many years. And, I listen to your show every day, every morning. I program it to every morning, and I'm now starting to listen to your show, the Hake Report. Let me tell you something. That guy, he needs to get rid of all that hatred from his heart. Get rid of it, and he will soar like the eagle. Get rid of that weight that's in his heart, that's in his soul, that's weighing him down. What do you think?
I agree. I think that's good advice. I don't know if it's hard to get rid of hatred. I think it's impossible for human beings to get rid of it unless God takes it from us.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think I agree with you. It's phony excuses. Go ahead.
I once sat at a bar I once sat at a bar and there was a priest right next to me, and he was, I was sipping my coffee, he was sipping his, and we were talking about religion, and and I was still confused about whether or not I believed in God and whatever, and so on and so forth. And he goes up to me and he says, "Well, God loves you." And I looked at him. I said, "Then God loves Hitler too."
Uh-huh.
And the priest looked at me like, "What?" And he says, "Whoa, you're right. You're right. You taught me something." I said, I'm not praising myself. No, I will not. But it was at that point that he understood what love really meant, in my opinion. I mean, you should love your neighbor. There is a man out there who's a musician, a black musician, who used to hang out with the Klan to see what the hatred was and find out. And out of his love and respect for the Klan, the black man got about 10, 15 people to disrobe from the Klan. You can't disrobe the Klan with hatred. You'll strengthen them. You could disrobe the Klan with love and respect. That's it. That's all you could do. You can't do it any other way.
And I don't know. I haven't met any Klan members, but yeah, that's true. I don't know. You can't. But even those people, you're not gonna. Are they really gonna be truly loving, or are they just gonna be nicey nice, playing nicey nice?
You can disrobe a Klansman. You can disrobe him. It's possible. And a black man has done it. Because
you hear about all these you see them in the mainstream media, and I don't mean to undercut your point, but you see these people in the mainstream media who are supposedly former alt-right, former neo-Nazi, former Klan, and they just turn into liberal activists. That's not getting rid of hate. That's just trading one alleged hate for another hate.
Yes.
And it's phony self-righteousness. But
I'm gonna
your
send you
point
an
may be
email.
correct. I don't know that. I've heard of stories where this black guy, I don't know if it was I don't know if it's the same story as yours, was befriended some of these people. But have you ever heard, I mean, the only times that I hear of blacks getting rid of their hatred and coming to what's right, it's very rare. And even the ones who turn Republican are still full of hatred toward whites. I think it has to be done by God. It can't be done by us.
Right. Well,
and you can be a vessel of God, but most of us are not.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. Interesting, man.
Anyway, I hope that guy gets help, and or I hope his heart gets nice.
Well, you wish him well anyway, because
yes.
Yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you another time, man.
Good to hear from you, Steve. Appreciate you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Guys, we are at the top of the hour. I don't have any Holly Drift to play for you, but it is a track from a split CD a collaboration, if you will. Not a collaboration, just it did several tracks by Hollydrift and several tracks by Anaphylaxis is the name of the artist, pseudonym of the artist who did this track. And it is a remix of a Patsy Cline song. The Patsy Cline song is entitled I Love You So Much It Hurts. So the track by Anaphylaxis is called So Much. Well, I hope you enjoy it. Here's So Much by Anaphylaxis, and I'll be back. It's a 9-minute track. Cover your ears. Press mute. Or grin and bear it, you musical Philistines. I'll come back and talk you through it. Enjoy, and I'll be back for the rest of hour 2. Hang tight. I miss Hollydrift, says Fricky Bricky. It's mildly, I don't know if it's quite disturbing. But don't you like Patsy Cline? She died at age 30 in a plane crash. I love you so much it hurts me. I'm so afraid to go to bed. I'm afraid of losing you type of stuff. Allergic reaction, says Michael Allen. Yeah. Your girlfriend says, I'm already allergic to this song. She said that 3-4 minutes ago. Nice looking CD. Nice song, Hake. Nice and shiny, circular. Most CDs are. No, I did not ever do drugs listening to this music. Or it's not music, quite. Hake's music gives me flashbacks of art school, says Commander Kim. Something very wrong with you, Brother Hake. Pray. Yeah, I should. Patsy Cline, if you took acid and passed out, waking up on occasion. Are you sure? Yes, Dan. Yes, Dan East, I am sure. This was recorded by her ghost. The devil-worshipping noise hurts me. I kid, I love all of James's songs. How about the noise pieces? This isn't a song, it's ambient noise. Hake torture music, if you will. Let's see, love your enemies. Let's see, Matthew 5, KJV, 43 through 48. All songs built from songs by Patsy Cline. Jason Kaufman. There's a demon in James. Jason Kaufman, he's the one who did that Kanye West remix. Love Lockdown. Remember that track? Played it a couple of weeks ago. I low-key enjoy most all Hake's music. Thank you. So Matthew 5, 43 through 48. Let me read a little bit of a Bible passage. KJV. You have heard that it has been said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. This is Jesus talking. In the Bible. But I say to you, love your enemies. Bless them who curse you. Do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who despitefully use you and persecute you. Sounds like you're supposed to love the Edomite, Black Hebrew Israelites. Sounds like we're supposed to love the Democrats and the rhinos, the people who pass hate crimes legislation. Sounds like we're supposed to love Justin Trudeau and Barack Obama and evil sleazy Joe Biden and the evil UN, that you may be children of your Father who's in heaven, for he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and the unjust. I'm going to talk about this justice thing. There is true justice. Shout out Patsy Cline. She lived a messed up life. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? Do not even the publicans the same? Do the same? The worldly publicans. I don't know what that is. And if you salute your brothers only, what do you do more than others? Don't even the publicans do so? I'll have to look up that word. Be therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. Oh, in ancient Rome and biblical times, a tax collector was a publican. And they were despised because they would frequently cheat you. skim money off the top. Oh, thank you. He put me down in the corner. Shout out. Galaxy Brain, Kickflip Chris. Yeah. So, love your enemies. Wish Patsy Cline a speedy recovery. Oh, man. So, that's that. Quick super chat from Asmodor over there on Odyssey. Speculating on John from Kentucky's sudden exit. John was afraid of the super chats. That's why he hung up abruptly. I don't know what happened. It wasn't me. It was not me. Shaggy Boy says, blacks aren't my neighbors. That's one N-word. I'm told that you don't want to call a black neighbor. Sorry, blacks. But you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, very fun. Let me double check. Oh, from Super Chats on the streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Bibby McRibby, 42. Hake, I have nothing witty to say today. Just wanted to say you're crushing it lately. Keep up the good work, Holmes. And happy birthday. That's right, it was my birthday just over there on, just over there. Big Bump says, where's the EpiPen? Meaning, because anaphylaxis, if you're not already familiar, anaphylaxis is the description of, or the name for anaphylactic shock, which means that you're having an allergic reaction in which you can't breathe. Kind of like Georgia, Florida, maybe? Was Georgia, Florida going into anaphylactic shock? Or was was he being crushed, his lungs being collapsed by the weight of the 150-pound... Wasn't Derek Chauvin like 150, 160 pounds? I want to say that he was kind of small. But anyway, anaphylactic shock means you can't breathe. So get the EpiPen. EpiPen is epidural or something like that. Prevents you from having this severe allergic reaction in which you can't breathe. But yeah, it was my birthday back in July 17th, 2021. And we are less than 6 months till my birthday once again. Thank you guys for the happy birthday wishes. I'm 40 and a half. Can you believe it? But I act like a child, per John from Kentucky. Perhaps true at times. Jared gave a super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Thank you, Jared. And he states, James, keep doing you, my friend. You know you are on the right path when haters come out of the work. Well, you don't always know that, because you're always going to catch haters. But anyway, I keep telling people that see everything in an earthly point of view that we are about to witness human beings become like beasts. Stay strong, with the finger pointing up. Thank you. Yeah, that's so true. People are evil. Hake gets high by torturing us with his music. Is that what it said? Messed up. So, let's get back to the stuff, the mess going on in the world. Dante Wright. Today is Ahmaud Arbery Day. Well, Dante Wright was last week. Dante Wright being the out-of-control black guy, 20 years old. He resisted arrest, fled, tried to flee in a vehicle, which is considered sometimes a deadly weapon. The woman said, taser, 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 and then blam, oops. And then she started crying because she shot and killed this young male who was a mess. Here is Benjamin Crump. I got some more clips that I just have to share with you. Bear with me through them. And you can call in 888-775-3773. Numbers right here. Boom. This is from WCCO, CBS Minnesota, YouTube channel. Dante Wright's family very disappointed with Kim Potter's less than 2-year sentence. Here is Benjamin Crump, the evil, but you're supposed to love him, lawyer/liar, who you look at him and somebody said, every time I look at him, I expect to hear an African accent. Because although he was born supposedly in like South Carolina or somewhere. He just has like an African look to him. But anyway, here's Benjamin Crump, the lawyer liar, the Black Lives Matter lawyer liar, who tends to lose cases, but I guess he, quote unquote, won this case, talking about his version of justice. Listen to this.
Seems like they get the most of justice, and we get the most of injustice.
Blast.
And that's what we're struggling with at this moment. So this is very emotional for them. This is their baby.
Their baby. 20-year-old baby who already had a baby. Was he married? Was Daunte Wright married? I never heard about his wife. I don't think that Daunte Wright was married. I could be mistaken. But he already had a baby. So now these people allegedly are going to raise his baby or have some custody. Here's Daunte Wright's supposedly white mother. Is she Italian? Shout out to Louis Buzzi and Stephen Absolution. I don't know. She looks like she might have like some Hispanic in her or Italian. You know, she has that dark hair. Some whites, I guess, have dark hair. But she's a... Well, listen to her. Listen to her. I played part of this clip. I'm playing more of it because she mentions the white women's tears stuff. And she thinks that her white woman tears are more genuine than Kim Potter, the former female officer who shot Daunte Wright. She thinks her phony emotions are more genuine than the female cop's phony emotions. Listen to this mess.
Kim Potter murdered my son.
I don't think it's
and he died April 11th. Today, the justice system murdered him all over again.
It's not true.
To sit there and watch pouring my heart out in my victim impact statement that took so long to write, and I reread it over and over again, to not get a response out of the judge at all. But then when it came down to sentencing Kim Potter, she broke out in tears. So once again, we are standing here to say that we're very disappointed in the outcome. Yes, we got a conviction, and we thank everybody for that. But again, this isn't okay. This is the problem with our justice system today. White women tears trumps.
Wow.
Trumps justice. And I thought my white women tears would be good enough because they're true and genuine. But when they're coerced, coached, and taught by the defense attorney, I guess we didn't have a win in this at all. Thank you.
Was that rapper behind him? Was it that? That's not the rapper behind her, was it? With the tattoos on his face. What's the name of that guy with the tattoos on his face? Post Malone. Was that Post Malone? No, I don't think so. Post Malone has even more tattoos on his face. My white woman tears were more genuine, and hers were coached. Fricky Bricky says, aha, fat, ugly woman. I don't know, she's kind of cute. But she was overweight, chunky, but funky, but not a decent woman. Apparently. Here is the father of Daunte Wright talking after the mother. Don't say that, Hake. Okay, so look at the father talking now. Here he is. See, doesn't that look like Post Malone a little bit?
I want to just say, you know, I feel cheated. I feel hurt. I'm very upset that my son's life was taken. And that it seemed to me that nobody even cared enough. You know, it was like they were so tied up into her feelings and what's going on with her that they forgot about my son being killed. A life was taken. And it's just sad to say that I feel like we was tricked. You know, we was limited on everything, on what to even say, I feel like. And it's just sad that our justice system will, you know, we actually thought we was going to get a little justice. You know, nothing could ease our mind from Dante being killed. But just the fact of knowing that this lady was going to pay for that, it gave us a little sense of hope, like, you know, things were going to get a little bit better. But now I walk out of this courthouse feeling like people are laughing at us because this lady got a slap on the wrist, and we still every night sitting around crying, waiting on my son to come home. I'm upset.
Yeah, you're upset. What a mess, huh? Last bit from Benjamin Crump, guys. Listen to Benjamin Crump talking about, I don't know, I guess they wanted 7 or 8 years or more than 7 years on this woman. Here's Benjamin Crump complaining. Evil Benjamin Crump. Is it there? Okay.
It's there, but the clip is, I need to make it shorter.
Oh. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Where is he looking? He should be looking down. Okay.
And the emotions are real. You know, one of Dante's family members told me just now, you know, people in our community have gotten sentenced to greater time for selling marijuana than she got for killing our cousin. Let that sink in. There are black people in prison serving greater time for selling marijuana, which is legal in most states, than this police officer got for killing this young black man.
What a mess. What a phony mess. Marijuana. Totally different situation. I gotta play for you the judge. The judge specifically pushed, the Asian female judge specifically pushed for a lighter sentence. And women tend to get lighter sentences, by the way. Listen to evil Joy Reid on MSNBC complaining and being a mess, and then she'll play a clip of Chu, what's her name? Something Chu. Anyway, you'll hear it. Listen to this.
The light sentence comes on the heels of the Derek Chauvin trial, a conviction and sentence that some interpreted as a new era of accountability for police officers who kill black people. Today confirmed what many of us feared and already knew. Chauvin was a one-off. There was no accountability today. But that isn't where this story ends. We also saw on full display the imbalance of empathy that permeates this country based on the color of one's skin. This time by a judge who shed tears for the white killer, but not for the black victim or his family, while also gaslighting the entire country by using the words of Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama, to urge everyone to empathize with Potter.
To those who disagree and feel a longer prison sentence is appropriate, as difficult as it may be, please try to empathize with Ms. Potter's situation. As President Barack Obama once said,
why is he talking like this?
Learning to stand in somebody else's shoes, to see through their eyes, that's how peace begins. And it's up to you to make that happen. Officer Potter made a mistake that ended tragically. She never intended to hurt anyone. Her conduct cries out for a sentence significantly below the guidelines.
See? This Asian female judge said that her conduct cries out for a sentence significantly below the guidelines. Because I guess the guidelines, you're about to hear this former JLP guest complain that the guidelines are for 6 to 8 years for manslaughter. Yeah, the Asian female judge started crying, by the way. Judges shouldn't be crying, says Commander Kim. Yeah, I don't know about female judges. Not a good situation. And now we're having them more on the Supreme Court, so-called Supreme Court. Ridiculous. But here's a female-minded male, Ellie Mistal. You guys remember Ellie Mistal? If you've been around from when I was producer, I think we had Ellie Mistal on the Jesse Lee Peterson show like 3 times. I don't know if I've put out any of his interviews. Maybe I will, if I haven't, on YouTube. But this guy, here he is on Joyless Reed, on MSNBC complaining about this sentence. Here's Ellie Mistal being a mess. Wild hair, fat, and a so-called lawyer contributor. Shameful. Listen to this.
Joy, this country hates us. This country hates black people, and we know it. We talk about it. We joke about it. We know what we're up against. But sometimes that hatred that this country has for us really comes out and just takes your breath away, just grabs you by the neck and just takes your breath away. And today, Judge Regina Chu was that hatred, that icy hatred around our throat. She was the spit in our face today. To have the unmitigated gall to stand up there, sit up there in her courtroom and plead, cry out for sympathy for the killer in front of that boy's mother. I don't have words to describe how offensive that is, how hurtful that is, how unjust that is, almost goes without saying. People are like, oh, she made a mistake. The Potter made a mistake. Yeah, we have a sentencing guideline for this kind of mistake. It's called 6 to 8 years. Why did she get 2 years? Somebody needs to answer me why she got 2 years. And of course, we all know why she got 2 years. Yeah. Because she was a crying white. That's why she got 2 years.
Crying
and
white
not
woman.
the 6 to 8 years that her crime cried out for.
Okay, Ellie Mistal. All of a sudden, he wants to impose the full penalty of the law. Crime. What a mess. What a mess. We all know that females get lighter sentences than males. In front of that boy's mother. Dante Wright was not a boy. He was an out of control, young adult male and a father with gross misdemeanors and an arrest warrant, and he acted erratic. He got himself killed. This country hates us. Yes, they do hate you because they're kissing up to you. That's the hatred. What a mess. So wrong. And Joy Reid was like, oh, Derek Chauvin's harsh sentence, because he got like life. And how many life sentences did he get in prison? Amber Geiger got 12 years, says Get a Job, reminding us. Yeah, he mentioned that yesterday. Amber Geiger, the white woman, female cop who walked into what she thought was her own apartment. She walked into a black dude's apartment, saw him there. She thought he was an intruder, and she shot him. Jumped the gun and shot him. She got 12 years. She was crying, too. I remember her crying. What a mess. So wrong. So sick. He was expressing hatred for the judge. She was quoting Barack Obama, talking about empathy. Empathy is a liberal word. This Asian female judge is a liberal. Not good. He wants full punishment. Pathetic. Let me get to Austin and Washington. in Washington State. Austin, how are you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing, bud?
Doing fine, thank you.
Hey, I just wanted to bring up something I just read yesterday. It was about a 7-year-old little black child who I guess found his parents' gun and shot himself, killed himself, and it's just such a sad story because the parents are blaming it on racism. Okay.
Is it a 7-year-old? Did you say 7-year-old black child?
7-year-old black child.
Wow.
The parents should be in jail right now, right? You left your gun. The mom said, "Oh, I left my gun in my Bible case and I put it under my bed. Don't normally keep it there." And I guess earlier that day, somebody called my son the N-word, and I put him to bed at night, and when I woke up, he was dead. And, I mean, this kid, they talk about how he likes superheroes, like he's just all about superheroes. And it's like, well, what do you think, woman? He found your gun. He's going to think he's a superhero. He's 7 years old. He's not suffering from depression or anything. 7-year-old doesn't even know what the N-word means,
Right.
So these... no accountability, no nothing. All they have to say is racism, and it's just like the dude who burnt down the pawn shop and killed that one guy, and how he got half time on his sentence, which he'll probably only do half of that too, all because he said he was emotionally charged because racism and all that.
Right.
That's the whole thing. Our prosecutors and all that. The prosecutors were defending the guy, Prosecutors should be trying to get the maximum sentence for these guys, Right. Or at least get, some kind of deal. But that is just I'm so fudged up, sorry. Just the way our system is right now. All I hear about is white privilege this, white privilege that. I don't see it. I do not see it anywhere. I just don't.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd bring that up real quick, but the story just made me sick to my stomach because.
Where did this take place? And do you know when and where it happened?
It happened at the end of last month in Atlanta, Georgia, I believe.
Oh, okay.
It was. And dude, just a heartbreaking story, man. How it goes from a reckless woman leaving her gun under her bed where her son could easily get it. A 7-year-old child who's into, superheroes and, wanting to be the good guy and all that, child doesn't know, what a gun can do.
Well, I mean,
all he sees is
a 7-year-old should know what a gun can do. You know what I mean? Like in the olden days, when we had
in Atlanta, Georgia,
strong
they probably
fathers
see it all the time.
Right. Yeah.
But still, they don't know, like, they see it, but, again, like, you see a kid who wants to be a superhero and all that, and, it doesn't occur to them
There's a big push to call it bullying. There's this big anti-bullying push. It's part of the gay agenda, the homosexual agenda, to try to blame society for where the parents are failing and where the schools are propping up this miserable lifestyle, if you will, a miserable mindset of accepting wrong as right, when they never really accept wrong as right. They know that they're wrong. And that's why them being on the, disproportionately, the LGBT, for example, are addicted to drugs, so-called, right? And they're living out of control sexually and all that mess. And they're disproportionately among the people who turn around. Maybe something was done to them as children, and then they turn around and do more to other children when they're adults. They never really grow up, and they just become worse. They become bitter and not better. So that is crazy.
It's sad, man. It's really sad. No accountability. I mean, as far as the parents go, I mean, shoot, when I was a kid, you know, I spent time with my parents. They'd read to me, you know, we'd do like board games, and we'd actually spend time with each other. And that's what I do with my son. When I see parents nowadays, they just stick a tablet or a phone in front of their face.
Yeah.
And, you know, you see children on social media, you know, kids like 7, 8, 9 years old on social media. What is that?
Right.
Man?
I know. How old is Northwest,
doing?
by the way? Northwest age. I'm talking about Kanye West's.
Yeah, Kanye West's
daughter, I guess.
Yeah.
8 years old.
Whatever.
8 years old, and Kim, so-called Kardashian West, 41 years old, is putting her on TikTok.
Well, I wonder when the last time she even saw her child was, to be quite honest. So
yeah, what a shame.
It's all, that's.
I hear that suicides among Go ahead.
What's that?
You
go ahead.
I hear that suicides among adolescents are way up partly because of this. Well, it's not really because, but this exacerbated by the shutdowns in overreaction to the China virus, which isn't even really a threat to children, from my understanding.
Yeah.
And they're shutting down the schools, isolating the kids, and the parents are weak and a mess. The fathers are weak if they're there, and they're killing themselves. And then they're blaming racism.
That's amongst. But that's like amongst like teenagers and all that. Once you hit puberty, your emotions just, all that stuff just goes wild. So I mean, that's totally understandable. But a 7-year-old,
being that miserable, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, and it's just what a heartbreaking story, you know.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, we're in danger. It feels like we're, it's the collapse. You know, every society I heard collapses, or when they like every fall of every great empire or whatever. At the end, there's always a problem with like gender and sex and all that, like the confusion of it and all that.
I mean, I think as societies get so spoiled, just their degeneracy kind of knows no bounds because they're able to get away, live longer, you know? And people don't really suffer the consequences so much of their bad living. Life is not as hard.
Yeah.
And they're able to get away with living wrong for a longer time. And and people lose. That's not good for civilization. Not having men who are men, that's really bad for civilization.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But hey, man, I gotta hit the road. I had to drive to town to talk to you and bring that up.
Nice, man.
All right. Well, you have a great day, man. Nice talking to you.
Okay. Take care, Austin. Thank you. Wow. Crazy. Uncle Ted, 88, shared this article. A school in Wyoming teaching kids gun techniques and safety. And he shared this article from Idaho Statesman. 5th graders, 11-year-olds. Some may be actually 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds. 5th grade, as I recall. Learn to shoot guns by using school gym as a target range, per Wyoming photos. And that's an article from February 9th, 2022. Mitchell Willits writes the article in idahostatesman.com. Isn't that nice? Air rifles. But hey, air rifles, what's the difference between an air rifle and a .22? Is it significant? Because the .22 doesn't have so much kick, right? Never commit suicide. Everything's going to be all right. Thank you, Shaggy Boy. That's cool. Jesuit crook Live Vid says, blacks will suffer the most because they take no blame and expect the most even from other people. Yeah, that's spoiled. That's right. Spoiled. Let me tell you about this story about speaking of spoiled, women's soccer. Boring. This is from the Morning Brew. I saw it in Morning Brew. Equal pay is coming to American soccer. I say shameful. There's a big difference between watching women's soccer and men's soccer. A 6-year legal battle over gender discrimination between several members of the U.S. women's national soccer team, USWNT, and the soccer's sports governing body, U.S. Soccer, ended in a $24 million settlement on Tuesday. Included in the deal is a promise of equal pay for the men's and women's teams going forward. What does that even mean? Pending a new collective bargaining agreement. Collective bargaining, that means unionizing. Communism. U.S. women's national team, something like that? Whatever. National soccer team. Is one of the most accomplished sports teams in the world, having won, with an asterisk, against other women, 4 World Cup titles and 4 Olympic gold medals. Because other countries don't have such big women's programs, right? Even still, the team's players make 89 cents for every dollar. That's pretty good that their male counterparts make during the regular season. I wonder what the difference in the viewership is. Do people watch women's soccer as much as they watch men's soccer? 89 cents on the dollar. 89 over 100. Oh, no. 100 over 89 is 12.4% more. Do people watch men's soccer and buy men's jerseys, soccer jerseys, and all that stuff? This is excitement about 12% more? I would guess that it is. But they want to base it on their winning because they won a lot. In World Cup appearances, the men's team earns bonuses that are nearly double those made by the women's team. Because of that disparity, in 2016, 5 star players, including Hope Solo, Megan Rapinoe, she's that lesbian, right? I better make sure that that's correct. Oh, yeah, it is. Filed a wage discrimination claim with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC. And they are another part of, what is that? The so-called civil rights thing, which should not exist. Kicking off a bitter battle that wasn't settled until just Tuesday. Back in 2016, they did this. What a mess. The 61 women included in the deal will receive $22 million in back pay, an acknowledgement that they were underpaid compared to the men's team. An additional, were they raking in that kind of money? Were they winning their league that kind of money? I wonder. An additional $2 million will be placed in a fund for post-career endeavors and charity. To me, that's shameful. Kissing up to women, female soccer players. Uppity Talent Vacuum says vexed peril. Not vexed, vexed. Hey, why are you using Google when you got Galaxy Mega Mind Chris right there? No, I use Start Page with the Brave browser. Startpage.com on the Brave browser, and you have more privacy. And then you're not supporting Google, which is evil. And it is evil. So sick. Let me ask this question, just in brief. Do you whites feel like victims? Because when I talk about this stuff, I don't feel like a victim. I think that it's wrong. Sometimes it is outrageous and evil. Hake using the Google? No, Tom knew. But I don't know. I definitely don't think that whites should be getting into the victim thing. I do see the attack on whites. I do see the injustice against various white people. I do see that whites don't have freedom of speech. They can't look out for their own community without catching a hate crime charge if the guy attacks them and they have to kill him in self-defense, such as the Travis McMichael, who had to do that. Luca music. Never again. When I was a beta, I always felt like a victim. Nah, I feel like a king, says Nugget Man. Because it seems like whites just want actual justice. Like, when a black is treated wrong, they want him treated right. Such as Clarence Thomas, treated wrong. Anyway. Yeah, only reason to watch sports is to see the pinnacle of the sport, which is the men playing. You can see great athleticism in the men. The women playing the soccer, okay, all right, women versus women. You may be able to see good competition at that level, but that's not that impressive. Such a shame. So glad I won't clog my mind with the bread and circus of sports ball. Yeah, Uncle Ted 88. I was never into watching that stuff. Never into watching basketball. Never into watching baseball, football, any of that. I liked playing it, but watching it, sometimes it's like good to see their skills, watching highlights. But other than that, yeah, a waste of time. Not good. I wanted to cover another story. I saw it in the far-left female-run outlet, The Skim. It may have been mentioned on the JLP show about these... What was it? By the way, the Russia stuff is getting ridiculous. Oh, yeah, Colombia. I did see it on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Was this Colombia? This week, the country's constitutional court, and I feel like I've covered this before, this type of thing. Over in South America, they're trying to expand abortions, right? South America, Central America, they're supposed to be Catholic, which is supposed to be Christian, which is supposed to be for protecting the innocent, not killing the innocent. And women are not innocent. They're talking about the babies, killing the babies. This week, the country's constitutional court, quote unquote, decriminalized abortion in the first 24 weeks of pregnancy. 24 weeks, that's about, what, getting close to 5.5 or 6 months? Women in the country have been protesting for years for greater access to the procedure. I think if you saw in the Jesse Lee Peterson show, it might have been in Men's, the Manhood Hour, that these women were all celebrating the right to kill a baby, which is not a right. Women have been protesting for greater access to the procedure. They call it a procedure, killing babies in the womb, evacuating it from the body, right? Which has only been legal in certain cases since a 2006 ruling. So before that, it was illegal in all cases. Since then, nearly 3,000 people reportedly been prosecuted for having an abortion. 2006 to 2022, only 3,000 cases. 2022 minus 2006, 16, 3,000. 187, 188 a year on average. That's not that many. Anyway, Colombia. I know some Colombians. In 2020, more than 90 groups sued for greater access to abortion, access to killing the baby in the womb, arguing there are too many barriers. Latest ruling could mean there are 3 of the 4 most populous countries in Latin America are expanding access to abortion. Wow. So evil. The court has asked Colombia's Congress to create regulations. So sick. What are the other ones? Mexico, Argentina, also expanding it. Around the world, getting more evil. Killing the babies. What about the baby's body? Will you be like the slave master flogging the black child? Asks that young girl, Allison, I forget what her name was. Inappropriate. Yes, abortion is worse than slavery, but they don't care about what's right. Let me get to Joe in Portland, Oregon. Joe, how are you doing?
Hake, I'm doing very well. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
I just want to comment on the women's sports thing.
Yeah.
So here in liberal Portland, Oregon, someone is going to open up a sports bar focused on women's sports. Can you believe that?
A sports bar focused on women's sports.
Yeah.
I'm shaking my head.
Now, I think, it's disgusting. Anywhere else, I think that bar would fail. It might do well here because there's so many beta cucks here. And it's mostly probably just going to be a bunch of fat, disgusting lesbians at that bar anyway. So,
okay. Yeah, stay close to your phone. It's coming in kind of quiet. But I heard you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty disgusting. Yeah, and women should not be paid as much as men because nobody wants to watch it.
Right.
They're not getting the same ratings. So why should they get paid as much? And women shouldn't even be playing those kind of sports anyway. They should be at home in the kitchen making me a sandwich.
Yeah. It's oftentimes not very ladylike. It doesn't seem that attractive most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, women should stay fit and trim for men, but they shouldn't be playing these rough sports, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's nice to have some skills, like be able to build up some skills, be fit and strong. But
yeah, for sure.
And healthy. But all this ego and acting like men and celebrating like men and getting all caught up like that stuff. Something doesn't seem right about it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's lesbian influence. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a fake version of equality. It's ridiculous. Well, there's too much focus, honestly, on the sports thing anyway. The priorities of the country are a mess right now.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
I think that our culture in general puts too much emphasis on sports figures and entertainment figures as heroes. And I'm not saying I don't enjoy entertainment or sports, but the real heroes are, like policemen, firemen, construction workers, all the men that like hold our country together. Those are the real heroes.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. You know what I mean? Sometimes not. Sometimes not even them. But yeah, I agree. Addison, I think, is the name of that little girl. By the way, I was just thinking about that. Yeah, I agree. It's ridiculous. We have to, I guess, just speak freely on it, and maybe some eyes will be opened. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Good to hear from you.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. You take care, Hake. Bye.
All right. You as well. Pro-life speakers, June 5th, 2019, pro-life speakers jeered at by people during a Raleigh meeting. Raleigh, North Carolina, right? Addison. Raleigh, North Carolina, pro-life speech. I wonder where this young woman is now. 13-year-old Addison Woosley, abortion speech. Look it up. I have that on the Hake Report YouTube channel and elsewhere. 13-year-old Addison Woosley, an abortion speech at Raleigh, North Carolina City Council meeting, June 4th, 2019. Tensions rose in the meeting as many were offended by Addison's speech. She took a firm stance against abortion and related it to slavery, and she was mocked and scorned by many adults, including emotional black females who said, one black female in particular, inappropriate. And the weak black man who was leading the city council meeting was like, order, order. I understand, I'm black. Yes, I'm black myself, but we have the freedom of speech. And so he very weak, but he did stand up for the basic freedom of speech. What a shame. Speaking of the weakness of parents, there was this story that caught my eye from CNN that I described it in Hake News as mothers with no authority, just in the last few minutes here. So this mother promised her son $1,800 when he turned 18 if he could stay off of social media for 6 years, and I think he did it. I think that this is like an Indian woman, not sure. Sivert Klefsass. Klefsaas. What kind of a name is that? Is that Indian? Minnesota mom. Minnesota Muslim area, right? Man, what has happened to America? I thought it was awesome, Silvert told CNN on Tuesday. What's 6 more years? In 2016, Lorna Goldstrand Klefsass challenged her 12-year-old son, Sivert Klefsass, to stay off social media until he was 18. He completed the challenge. She awarded him with the cash on his 18th birthday. February 19th, 2022, Lorna was inspired by a challenge she heard on the radio, 16 for 16, where her mother gave her daughter $1,600 when she turned 16 if she stayed off social media. So she wanted to give him $1,800 to stay off social media. Just, how about you're not allowed on social media until you're 18, until you're an adult. You know what I mean? Because this stuff is poison. And some of the worst poison is pushed by the social media establishment themselves. They push Black Lives Matter. They push the LGBTIQ agenda. It's not just the friends telling you kill yourself, or the pornography, or the out of control bad kids bullying you, cyberbullying. No, it's this false love that's being pushed, and brainwashing. It's not just the schools brainwashing the children. And so a mother, I don't know what she is, but anyway, he might be mixed. Like, she sounded like she might be white. But anyway, guys, this has been the Hake Report. Rick in Maine wanted to talk about a New Jersey fight at a mall, black versus white. Wow. And the rest of the callers, I cannot get to you. This has been the Hake Report, last one of the week. I'll see you on Monday, going to AFPAC. But JLP will be live tomorrow, the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. And today, Bond Archive Sunday service. No church on Sunday, guys. Hopefully we'll have a Bond Archive Sunday service premiere on Sunday as well. But one tonight, 4 p.m. Pacific time, late afternoon, early evening, I guess. rebuildingtheman.com/church. Thanks, guys, and take care.